Hello and welcome back to Create on the Road. Right, so it is the second day of December. I've come back from the holiday in Vietnam 2 days ago. I am still, I think, sort of jet lagged, but not really. Maybe I'm just tired. And I wanted to start talking about the romance novel. I just finished uploading the actual general update. I wanted to make a vlog, this vlog, only focusing on the writing and mainly on the romance novel. Right, so I've got a big mug of chai latte tea, which smells amazing and quite sort of like wintry and Christmassy, which is perfect because I spent the past 2 weeks in like 30 degrees and now it's like 0 degrees outside. So I am feeling the shock of the temperature change. But anyway, so if you guys have seen my previous videos during NaNoWriMo, you will know that I've been writing a romance novel in November and I am continuing the draft this month. And I want to self-publish this novel at the end of January or February next year. So basically I have roughly 2 months between December and January to finish the draft, edit it, basically get a complete novel out of it and do everything else to launch it and start selling it, basically. So let's put this down and I am going to start showing you what I've got for helping me to do this. So I have made, and so far is 9 weeks long, but I still have some space if I need like a 10th week. Anyway, this is the master schedule related only to, well, not necessarily just the first romance novel, but basically, yes, the romance novel up until publication and or the following week or so, just to cover the basis of like some additional promotion or whatever else I need to do after publishing it. I did this because while next week I will be publishing my Writing Prompts book. That book is much easier in a sense to publish because there's less promotion involved. There are not going to be arcs sent out and all of those things. So that's just a simpler, relatively, project, let's call it that way. And I also already have a schedule for the 3 weeks of December right here. So this is a general schedule for the month of December. I'm going to go away the last week of December, so I'm not counting that in, and it's going to be Christmas and all that anyway, so I'm counting the 3 actual weeks that I will be working. But this is the general schedule. It has sort of like things about the Writing Prompts book, so up until sort of the launch in the 2nd week. It has things to do with social media, setting up websites both for the Writing Prompts book and the romance novels, or basically the 2 pen names that I'm going to be using, and also doing other things and freelance work, which I'll be doing. So this is the general thing. But this also to gives me a better sort of comprehensive view of the whole thing. It's only about the romance novel. And there are some things related to the 2nd novel, which I need to start doing meanwhile, which is why they're also going to be in here. But mainly it is the first romance novel. So, as you can see down here, I've put, it's not complete because I'm sure there'll be more things, but I have space, things to do basically during this month. So things like, well, finishing the first draft, editing it, formatting, adding like table of contents and all of that other stuff, doing the covers, everything else. And obviously you guys will be along the process because I'm going to be filming the steps that I will be taking during this couple of months. Maybe they can help you guys if you are planning on self-publishing something, or you can, I don't know, laugh at me when I fail doing something, which it will probably happen because it is my first time trying to publish a romance novel for sure. And also first to actually get the full book completely finished in 2 months, well, less than 2 months really. So yeah, I don't want to get all worked up about that. I think it's doable. We'll see how that goes. So, what's the plan, basically? I'll have to do some freelance work, which is fiction, not related to whatever my stuff, but still fiction. So my fiction days will be divided between the romance draft and the freelance work, because I can't not do the freelance work because I've taken it up, but at the same time I will be writing the romance. So I've got planned, apart from today, which is sort of like catching up day, video day, whatever day, laundry day, but not writing day. So from tomorrow I'll be trying to write pretty much every day until I finish the draft, really. And I'm aiming for maybe 20,000 words-ish. It feels like a ballpark amount of how much the novel needs still. And I know there's going to be editing in the first 50k. I think there's about 10,000 words of what I've written during NaNoWriMo, which I know that in some way or another we'll probably have to trash. But I'll figure that out in a few weeks, really, or a couple of weeks, really. But for now, I want to concentrate on obviously getting the last few scenes that I need down, so then I have the full manuscript and I can start editing it. I think that tomorrow, the plan tomorrow is going to be to start with actually the freelance work, which is sort of easier to do for me. So that'll get me back into the actual writing thing, and then I'll do the romance bit when I've kind of got back into the rhythm of writing. So that's the plan. I'm going to stop filming right now so I can actually finish a few things that I need to do on the computer and things like that. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow with the actual writing, hopefully. So bye for now. Good morning. So welcome back. It's Thursday. Yes, we are missing a couple of days and I am sorry, but I had, I had an okay Monday, as I did quite a few things that I set myself up to do. And then Tuesday I slept really, really badly and not a lot. I think the tail of the jet lag from the trip and plus the change in temperature kind of gave me a bit of a cold or something. And I mean, Tuesday was just, I was dead to the world pretty much. I managed to do some things and write a bit in the romance and did some freelance work. I sort of decided to concentrate what little energy that I had just on the freelance work for that day. So it wasn't a completely unproductive day, but obviously, as you can see here, I had about like 6 or 7 things to do, and I did basically maybe 2 of them, and not a lot of those either. So Tuesday was a bit of a day. Yesterday was an okay day. I did write in the romance and I did a lot of editing in the romance, which is good overall because it needed to be done. But at the same time, I don't want to look at my word count at the moment because I sort of gutted what feels like half of the novel. It probably is not, but I feel like I knew there were scenes that needed to be deleted because they were just deleted from the novel. I never delete, but just deleted from the novel because I knew they were just not necessary. I kept them for the word count basically, and because they were still part of the draft. But yesterday I did a lot of work and I sort of trimmed all the parts, and also while I was away and I did some sort of like brainstorming on how to edit this novel, I realized that there was like I'm gonna call it a subplot basically, let's call it that way for ease of conversation. So there was like a string throughout the novel, which I started, obviously it was incorporated in what I've already written, that was not necessary to the novel either. Like it wasn't true to my characters, and so I had to cut that part out, which meant rewriting quite a few scenes, and I'm still not finished on that. I think I have at least 2 scenes left where I need to rewrite them because I need to take away this sort of aspect of the character which is not there anymore. So that was a lot of work. Word count wise, I don't know. I think I wrote about 1,500 new words yesterday, like completely new words, because I did like a scene and a half of sorts. but then I did a lot of the editing bit, so I don't want to word count at the moment. So yeah, I did that, and then I did a few other like stuff and some more freelance work, because obviously that's kind of like a hard deadline that I need to keep. And then today, unfortunately, half of my morning went away on errands that I wasn't expecting to have to do, but they needed to be done, and they're actually not finished, because tomorrow I'll still have to go out to do like whatever the last bit of this thing. So that was like 2.5 hours of this morning, like that I'll never get back in my life. Oh well. But I did manage to do some work before going out this morning, so that was cool. I think it's time for me to get some lunch and to get back to work. So I'll see you guys in a bit, and bye. Alright guys, it's almost 5 and it's time to get some tea. And as you've seen, I managed to do quite a lot of writing. I wrote for about an hour. I did some writing earlier this afternoon, but then I wrote for about an hour just now, just finished. And so far today I've got 1,719 words, which is not bad. I did some more editing earlier, so the total word count is a bit still up in the air. But I will update you on that in the following videos, obviously. But I'm quite pleased because I've got a couple of scenes, well, one big scene really out of the way, and that flows nicely into the following scene, which I hadn't written yet either. Yeah, not too bad. But that's it for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye! Good morning, it's 8:30 in the morning, got my cappuccino, my computer is booting up, so I am ready to start working, and I've actually already done some work, not on the computer this morning, but now it's computer time, because as I said yesterday, I have to go out in just less of 2 hours, so I have about an hour and a half of work that I can do, and then I'll have to get ready and whatever else. So my plan is to have breakfast and just check some emails and do some of those like little tasks that need to be done kind of every day, and then hopefully to write for about an hour-ish, so I can get some writing done, and then I'll go out. Hopefully it's not gonna take me long, and then I'll have the rest of the morning and the rest of the day to work on stuff. So let's get into it. All right, I've got a few minutes before I need to start getting ready for going out, so I thought I'll wrap this video up and tell you guys a bit the sum of my week, or 5 days I guess. So I did end up doing some editing. I took off a couple of, as I said before, like plot points and like other secondary stuff that I felt was not necessary to the story. Like, I want obviously the story to focus on these two people, and there's plenty of things going on with these two people without involving so many secondary characters. And I realized what I did it was because like I'm excited about all the other characters and the ones that are going to have their own love stories in the rest of the series and all of that, but obviously in the book has to be about the main couple, so there are still scenes with other people, obviously, that don't live in a vacuum. But I did trim some of the more like social settings and like others, as I said, subplots. So I did also some writing, but it's probably about like 700 words, so nothing much as far as like what's on the page. But yeah, this morning before breakfast, I also had some time to do some brainstorming for other things, but I also came up with hopefully a couple of taglines for this book and another book, which obviously I'm not sure that I will keep, but at least they give me an idea of what I could play with. So I was happy about that. And then I did some, as you know, continue doing my editing and taking notes about editing. So I'm a pretty good place. I don't know, this book is a bit different from the others I've written in the past, not only because it's a romance, but because I am working so much more basically on the outline or on the I don't know, behind the scenes, like on the structure of the story before writing so many of the scenes. Like I have so many scenes planned, but not written yet. And yet I know what they're gonna say. So mentally, the book is at a good place, even though it doesn't have 60,000 words yet written. I don't know, maybe I'm just sort of like, I'm telling myself that I'm way ahead than what I'm actually am. I don't know. But I'd rather have a good plan in figuring out the problems with the plot before I actually write the scenes than writing scenes and then having to check them like it has happened already. So I'd rather spend half an hour more like figuring out, okay, if this happened in this scene, then I need to, you know, is it possible that this happens in the following scene, or do I need to change something or whatever? I'd rather do the planning beforehand. And this is actually kind of a surprise for me because I always thought that I was more of a pantser. Maybe turns out I'm not. I am still in flux on this. I'm not really sure. Like, I don't plan the actual scene, if that makes sense. I know what needs to happen, but then I start writing and God knows what happens, you know, especially for things like minor details. I had a scene, for example, I knew what was going to happen, like which conversation was going to happen in that scene, but suddenly they were in the garden and it was afternoon and it was blah, blah, blah. And I hadn't planned that, like, and it's cool because I like that factor of my imagination that I can, you know, I have an idea where I want to go or what needs to happen, but then I fill in the details while I'm writing. So I love that part. But I'm also enjoying the planning part. That's what I'm saying. It's maybe because in other parts of my life, I do enjoy sort of making lists and planning things. So I think it's sort of moving into this, the writing part. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's a romance. Next year, I will try to go, I want to go back to my fantasy as well. I'm not gonna stop writing romance. I just also want to go back to the fantasy. So it will be interesting to compare how the romance plotting works versus maybe plotting a fantasy, because yeah, I don't know. I think I'm still too much in the middle of this book, even though I'm sort of like half editing, half writing, half revising the whole book. But I actually quite like this way of doing it, and I am curious to see how the following books will go. If I will have a better grasp of the outline and the plot from the beginning, so there will be less need for me to actually fiddle with the plot while I'm writing, or if it's still going to be like a push and pull between the two things. I don't know. I'm sorry. It seems like I have more questions than I have answers this week. But yeah, I guess that's it really for this week, because I will try to get some writing done this afternoon, but I have also so many things that are not related to the romance novel that I need to do. So I'm wrapping this video up for today, and then we'll see next week what happens. I have to get ready now. So I have to stop here. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. And please leave in the comments how this week went. Did you sort of manage to do some more writing, or did you need to do more writing after NaNoWriMo? Did you just forget the draft and put it in a place where you can't see it and are doing something completely different? Let me know, you know, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I wish you a happy weekend. So bye.